I'm going to be Poison Ivy for Halloween, and I actually already dressed up for a party, and a lot of you guys were really mad on what costume I chose, and this is the costume that you wanted. Well, I'm going to wear it for Halloween. However, like I told y'all, I do not like the back because it doesn't look good. So I'm going to actually sew in a privacy panel into the back of this. So let's go do it. Okay, I have cut my fabric and folded it in half, and I'm only gonna sew these 3 seams and then turn it inside out so that this part is showing. And this is going to be sewn into my actual bodysuit to give that privacy panel. So if you ever have a dress, if it has a zipper, you can put a corset back in it, but this is already a corset back, so I'm just putting a privacy panel in. I am not a great sewer, so now is where we get nervous. Here we go. I learned how to sew in high school, and this thing is like 15 years old, and I rarely pull it out. But a girl's got to do what she got to do. So let's see. Okay, first side done. Definitely not perfect. This fabric is, and I was worried about that. It's very soft, so it's gotta pull it through a little bit, but carefully. But we got the first seam. That side was already together, so I didn't need to sew it, but I wanted to give it a little bit more structure before I sew it into my actual bodysuit. And now we're gonna sew the sides. Always have to take a deep breath before I start. Now we're just gonna do the last side. So we've got our 3 sides sewn, so we're gonna turn it inside out. And obviously this is just for a Halloween costume, so this is not gonna be perfect. And this fabric is definitely lighter than I would probably wanna make it. What I mean by that, like this, I'd want it to be more firm so it set on the back better, but it kind of matches this. So this is what we went with. Then what we're gonna do with our unfinished edge is we're going to sew that into the seam of my actual corset. And I thought about whether I should go along the corset seam or the side seam, but I decided to go with the side seam. And I'm going to start about an inch down because everything I saw said to not do it at the top or it's going to like push out to the top. So I'm going to do it an inch down. Okay, we've got it pinned into the seam. This is probably like what I'm really nervous about. I'm going to try to do it just along the seam there so I don't mess anything up. Okay, I'm just doing a straight line one because I don't have a lot of space to work with. And again, we don't need this to last forever, just for a costume. Of course, I put my pins in the wrong way. Have you ever done that where like you want to be able to pull this way? I do it wrong every single time. Realized my string broke. Ugh, I hate that. Okay, it looks like it wasn't very far back that it broke at least, so we'll just go back and start where we left off. But that means I gotta rethread the dang machine, and the older y'all get, you don't know yet, it's harder and harder. Okay, let's see if we got success or not. Okay, so here it is now sewn in, so let's flip it. Okay, flipped around. I did take the string out just so that it wouldn't be in the way. Okay, and then that is it. You basically just tuck the other one in like that, and then it's gonna have its corset strings in here, and then that's just gonna cover it up. But let's try it on and see if it worked. And can y'all believe I had 2 weeks to do this since I decided I was gonna wear this on Halloween, and this is the night before? If you can't believe it, hi, my name's Christina, and I'm a procrastinator. Kind of wondering if I didn't make it big enough. It felt like I did, but I also wonder if I just moved it over instead of having it in this side seam, if I moved it over here, if that would give me more of a stretch, because as you can see, it comes to like right to the edge. So I might move it over. What do you guys think? Also, my husband tied this and he didn't do the best job. So I'm going to have my friend fix it tomorrow. And then I was going to do sleeves if you've been following along because it had some clear ones and they kept like falling. But I'm just going to use like some Bondi adhesive to get it to stay up. But that's how I fixed my costume. And like I said, I might move it over just a titch. I would say if you're doing this, give yourself even more inches than you think you need. But tomorrow's Halloween. Happy Halloween. Love you guys.